Hello, everyone, and welcome to session 10 of Against the Slavers on the Gauntlet calendar. My name is Mike, and I will be the GM. We are running Old School Essentials, which is a D&D retro clone of the 1981 Tom Moldvay edition of the Dungeons & Dragons Basic and Expert set. And we are currently running Dungeon Module A3 against Assault on the Area of the Slave Lords, which was published by TSR back in 1981. A bit about myself. So my name is Mike. My pronouns are he, him. I've been playing tabletop role-playing games, well, since 1981. I mostly played a lot of D&D in the 80s. I mostly played a lot of GURPS in the 90s. I mostly played D&D 3rd edition in the aughts. We transitioned to Pathfinder, played that until about 2015 when I fell into the deep end of the story game pool when I started playing Dungeon World. And that kind of opened my brain to a new way of playing role-playing games. And I've mostly been playing story games since then. Although I've definitely had a fascination with the OSR, and I've been getting more into OSR in the past year or so. This series is my first time running Old School Essentials, and it's been a whole lot of fun so far. A little bit about the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is an online role-playing gaming community. We run about 100 games a month on an open calendar. Anyone can join. It's free to play games. We're also a podcast network. We run a blog. We run forums. We publish a bi-monthly Any award-winning high-quality role-playing gaming magazine called Codex. If you're interested in learning more about the Gauntlet and seeing what we're up to, check us out at gauntlet-rpg.com. Well, I've yammered a bit. Let's go around the table and introduce our players. Let's go clockwise as I have you on my screen here. So Anya, would you please introduce yourself?
Yep. Hi, I'm Anya. My pronouns are she, her. I've been playing role-playing games since the mid-2000s. I started with 3rd edition 3.5, and I really liked it. So I played just GM-less games for the longest time until I read Apocalypse World several years ago, and my whole mind about what a game master and a game mastered game changed drastically. And in the past year, I've been running 5th edition for my partner, and I kind of got back a bit into the history of D&D and revised all of those old editions with new eyes. And when I saw Old School Essentials listed, I just had to try it. So I'm very excited.
Well, awesome. Glad to have you with us. Vincent, would you please introduce yourself?
Sure thing. I'm Vincent. My pronouns are he, him. I've been playing role-playing games as kind of like a mishmash of different editions of Dungeons & Dragons since the mid-90s. And then I've been doing mostly story games for about the past 10 years, with some dips back into mostly trad games like D&D, occasionally Shadowrun, a little bit of Night's Black Agents. And the OSR world is still fairly new to me. I think I've done like one other OSR game prior to this one, but like to dip my feet in the water with it.
Awesome. Glad to have you with us. Tim, would you say hi, please?
Yeah, hi, my name is Tim. My pronouns are he, him. I've been with the Gauntlet over a year now, and yeah, got a chance to play a lot of really great games, meet a lot of really awesome people, and Trophy is a game I highly recommend. If anybody is listening to this and hasn't checked out Trophy yet, check it out. It's kind of a signature game of the Gauntlet, and yeah, I'm looking forward to playing another session tonight of Old School Essentials.
Awesome. As of the time of this recording, there are still a couple of days left to hop in on to pre-order Trophy. So check that out at trophyrpg.com. It's probably my favorite role-playing game at the moment. Cool. Ben, would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Ben. I first played role-playing games back when the old school was the new school in the early 80s. And then I stopped playing for a while after doing a lot of MERP. And then I've been back in the last few years, and I've been a voracious reader of systems, listener of podcasts, really fascinated in the whole enterprise and all the various exciting narrative versions it's taken. So it's partly why I was excited to be part of this process, to kind of remind myself, like, what are the joys of these very simple systems, and what's different as a player in that setting as opposed to some of the more sophisticated or new systems that we have. So that's partly why I'm excited, but also for the good fun of playing old archetypes and dealing with classic monsters.
Awesome. Glad to have you. Yeah, I just will comment. We are. I'm not exaggerating when I say I think we are in a new golden age of tabletop role-playing games. They've never been more popular. Obviously D&D 5th edition is the 800-pound gorilla in the space, but there are literally hundreds of different games you can play of lots of different sources, lots of different design philosophies. There is a game that can do basically anything that you want it to do out there. So I would recommend trying to find one of those rather than try to like pound the 5th edition peg into the square hole that you want to play. Not that 5e is a bad game. It does what it does really, really well. It's just that there's a lot of other games out there that do what they do really well. Anyway, enough of that. We are all returning players, so I'm going to briefly mention that we are playing with a set of safety tools. We're playing with the open door policy, which means any of us can come and go whenever we want. We are playing with a set of lines and veils that we established last week. And while I'm thinking of that, let me pull up my stick note of this adventure. So it is floating on the top of my screen, and I won't take my eye off the lines and veils. There it is. And we are playing with the X card. The X card is our reactive safety tool that if anything else happens in the game, you can say the phrase X card. That means we're going to pause the game. We'll have an out of character discussion to figure out what we need to change the game, what we need to change in either the game or the way we're playing it to make it feel comfortable again. And we'll figure out how to address what needs to be addressed. So we'll either rewind the scene and play it without the offending content. We'll fast forward. We'll have a discussion like adults and figure it out. Any questions about our safety tools before we move on? Fantastic. Okay. Just a quick recap. So the story so far. Land around where you folks live it's a coastal area, and in the past many years, a band of pirates organized pirates, marauders, and slavers have been raiding the shipping lanes, just conducting acts of piracy. And more recently, they've been going ashore, attacking villages at night, and carting off, not only just looting the towns, but also carting off all of the people, loading them onto ships and sailing away with them. At first, the local lords had been trying to bribe these marauders into, like, maybe don't attack, we'll give you some money, don't attack our lands. That worked for a little while, but the marauders have gotten bolder and were happily accepting the bribes, but then not actually holding up their end of the bargain. The local lords have had enough of this and decided that they want to put a stop to these marauders. But instead of assembling a navy and an army and having like a pitched naval battle and then sending Marines ashore to try to put a stop to them, they decided to take a more subtle approach, and they have hired several bands of adventurers to go into the areas where the slavers were known to have operated, and gain intelligence, sabotage their operations, and like put a stop to them small scale. So they've been sending in like a number of basically a number of small groups to go in and do as much damage as possible. And you are one such group. You initially went into the city of Highport, which was a city that which was once a successful port city, but it had fallen to a siege of monstrous humanoids about 20 years ago, and it has been a lawless place ever since. You learned that you had tracked the slavers to a ruined temple of Jerinomus, infiltrated that temple. Were not unable to free many of the captives, but you did kill the commander, and you threw a monkey wrench into their organization, and you also managed to steal a whole lot of documents about their operation and bring them back to the local lords. Using that information, they sent you back into the Drakenstrab Hills, where the slavers had an inland stronghold. You then attacked that fortress. You infiltrated that fortress without the perimeter guards finding out. You snuck in, and again, before the guards could really figure out what was going on, you managed to kill a number of you managed to dispose of a number of the leadership, rescue a bunch of the captives, and you found yet more documents about where these slavers were really operating from and where their leadership are. Based on these documents that you found, you have decided to take it upon yourselves to go in there and put an end to these slavers once and for all. There just wasn't time to check back with the lords. You've decided to like push on and take them out. You sent one of your party back to lead the slaves, to leave the enslaved people who had been captured, like back to a place where they can again rendezvous with your contacts and hopefully get these people back to where they actually belong. But the five of you pressed on. You went up into the Drakenskrab Mountains to where and you learned that the slavers are operating out of a secret city on an island in a caldera in a dormant volcano. Inside the caldera is a lake, and the city is on a large island in the middle of this lake. Now, the road that leads up into this, the road that leads up to the docks that most people do all the trading from is heavily guarded, and you need special passes in order to get through that gate, which you don't have. However, the other documents indicated that there was a secret back entrance, and that is the way you have decided to enter the city. You scaled the cliffs, you scaled the side of the mountain to some caves, and you've entered the caves, and you don't have a map of the complex, but this is, some kind of odd, it's been an odd complex of rooms thus far, and that you are currently trying to negotiate your way through and get through to this, to this city of marauders. Once you're there, you're hoping that you're going to be able to figure out where the actual where the actual slave lords are, and either confront them directly or use some kind of subterfuge to, put an end to their evil ways. That is the story thus far. Where we currently are. So the party has, so this back door is not unguarded. You have, let's see, you found some, I believe they were gnolls. Yes, you got into a guard room, and you defeated a group of gnolls.
We slid into a guard room.
That's true.
We sledded into a guard room.
That's right. The way in was through a it was through a basically it was through a like a bobsled run, except that instead of ice it was made of salt. You found some basically makeshift sleds that the people were using to get down there. And yeah, you slid on these toboggans into the room. You did surprise the gnolls, and he managed to take them all out by using a few magic tricks and just good old combat.
Go for the nose.
Exactly. You then managed to convince the one gnoll you didn't. One of the gnolls who. You managed to convince one of the gnolls to tell you which way to go, because it was basically a labyrinth of a whole bunch of dead drops that led out of this room. You convinced him to tell you which was the safe way to go, which has led you to a large cavern that is full of stalactites and stalagmites. You were warned that there are piercers, that some of those stalactites and stalagmites are piercers, which are monsters that look like stalactites that will drop on you, and due to their name, they'll drop on you to try to kill you from above, and then will try to eat your corpse. When last we left, you'd gotten to this room, and one of you, and I honestly blanking on who it was because I forgot to watch the video from last week, managed to go across the room to a door that was on the opposite side. And alas, one of the piercers was not warded off by the torch you were holding over your head, which is what the gnoll told you would keep them at bay. So I think we left there. A piercer had dropped, had hit Baroon, our dwarven gladiator, and he had taken some damage, and I think that's where we left things. Why don't we go around the table one more time and introduce us to our characters? Let's go counterclockwise this round. Let's go counterclockwise, and let's start with Baroon. If you want to introduce us to your character.
Baron is a dwarf gladiator who was released by this group. Although this group, is it Perseus' boat? Whose boat is it? Theseus' boat? That is replaced piece by piece from the beginning of the trip to the end of the trip. This party is like Theseus' boat. But okay, so this party as a concept is who saved me back in the day. Although three of the people in this room, none of the people in this room are actually there. And since then, Baroon's been fighting the good fight and trying to avenge his friend Calf, who saved him and who was killed against the slavers in our last fight. He is a sturdy, some would say archetypical dwarf who likes to be on the front lines and to protect the party.
Awesome. And Tim, would you introduce us to Jerinomus?
Yeah, so I am playing Jerinomus Tuck, a cleric. I don't know of what, but well, this was probably originally like it's set in Greyhawk, right, Mike? So
Yeah.
we'll say Cuthbert or something. You know, he's like
Okay,
a cleric of
St.
like
Cuthbert.
yeah, he's like a
Perfect.
cleric of like a good deity. And yeah, he can go by Father Tuck, or you can call him Jerry. And he has a really cool staff that can turn into a snake. So I think it was Vincent that pointed out he's kind of like almost like a Moses type of figure. So hopefully he'll
Well, that's
stick
where
around.
well, the book of Exodus is indeed where Gary Gygax got the idea for the staff of the serpent. So
Right. I mean, yeah, that's it. Right. So find inspiration wherever you can get it. Right. I think that's what D&D is. So yeah. I don't know if there's much else to say about him at this point. He joined the group because well, let's just say there was an opening in the party. So I think his whatever his faith organization that he belonged to decided that they wanted to help out and sent Jerry to help with this mission of freeing these captives and taking down the slaving operation.
awesome. Vincent, would you introduce us to your character, please?
Sure thing. I'm playing Woodchuck the Thief, and he's a well-meaning scoundrel through and through. He's said that he's escaped from these slavers from this compound, but he came out the other way. When he found out that the party was planning to run a raid on them, he wanted an opportunity to get back at his former captors and find a path to glory. So he signed up with the group as a guide to take them through the back ways and help them get unscathed to the slavers' compound. So far, that I mean, really, how many of you have been hurt? I think that we're doing good. Baroon a little bit, but he's a dwarf gladiator. It kind of comes with the job description.
He's got plenty of hit points.
Yeah. Woodchuck would never think to let on that he doesn't know exactly what's going on in any situation, though he's really making it up as he goes.
Love it. Thanks, Vincent. Anya, would you introduce us to your character, please?
Yep. My character is Caldas the Barbarian. She is a human barbarian, and she got rescued in the last incursion, in the last adventure by the party, by Mr. Gaff, who died minutes or hours after helping to rescue her. So Caldas joined the party to in part repay her debt to Mr. Gaff. And so here we are.
Okay, so I guess let's set the scene. So Baroon has gone across this large, like vaguely circular cavern to a door, which was on the opposite side of the entrance that you came in. He was attacked by a piercer. I think we'll probably resume combat for that in just a moment. But from where he is he has determined two things. One, the door that he attempted to open is not actually a real door. It's a false door. And two, he can see the actual entrance out. He can see the actual exit out of this room is here to the south. Although from where you entered, that entrance was hidden by a very large stalagmite coming up out of the floor. So the real exit to the room is down here, and Baroon is over here. So I think we will start with. So the piercer hit you on the surprise round of combat. So I think we should do an initiative. I'm going to roll for the monsters. Who would like to? Oh, Baroon got a 6. Excellent. I am just going to roll a 6. And the party wins initiative. So
All right.
let me just open the book to the encounter sequence again, because I often forget how I don't quite have this memorized yet. So combat sequence would be if anyone wishes to cast a spell, declare what spell you are casting. Let's see, and then we roll initiative, which we've done, and now the winning side acts. First, I'll do monster morale. I'm not going to roll monster morale yet because I'm not going to roll monster morale yet because they are hungry and they want to eat you. Movement. Yeah, next would be movement. So if anyone wants to do some moving, now would be the time.
What about
Baroon?
screaming? When is screaming?
That's a free action. You can do that whenever you
Okay,
want.
do you mind if I do that before movement? So giving people. So Baroon is gonna point his little stubby finger towards his towards the door and says, "Lads, the exit's over there."
Right now there is a single target. It's the piercer that landed on you. It's now like it landed on you. It did some it hurt. It's not sticking out of you like a but it is it's now on the ground, and it's going to it looks like it's going to continue to attack you.
Right. So if I can't, because I can't move while I'm engaged with it, right? So I'm gonna try to dispatch it, but I'm yelling at the rest of the group to make their way to the exit.
Got it. So yeah, if anyone wants to move in, now would be the time.
Yeah, I think Woodchuck will say, keep it down, the rest of them might hear you. And I think I try to as quickly but quietly, but quickly as well, get over to Baroon with my torch, because I've decided if torches were supposed to keep these things on the ceiling, I might be able to scare it away if I get fire up in its face.
Okay. So everyone is everyone moving into the room, or
Yeah. You
Okay.
mute yourself, Tim.
Sorry, I'll move in holding a torch and a mace toward Baroon.
I have my lantern. I don't know if I can point it towards Baron.
And Baroon is saying, "No, no, over there." He's pointing to the exit. Well, do what you want.
I'll try to go to the exit while lighting towards him.
Woodchuck has to save Baroon.
let me check one thing here real quick.
How many of these things drop on us?
Well, all I'm going to say is that knoll that you captured, he seems to have lied to you, because they don't seem to be bothered. They don't seem to be bothered by lights at all. Let's see.
I feel so betrayed.
Possibly get used to it.
Caldas, may I ask what your oh wait, that's not there. So yeah, there are as you all move into the room now, that there are many piercers that are dropping from the ceiling at you as you've as you move through the room. On the monster's turn, I'm going to start making attack rolls on you. Now is not the time to do that, because this game does not have attacks of opportunity.
Oh,
so
that's
Anya,
right.
are you?
Hold on a second. Sorry. So that means I can actually move at half my speed, correct?
Yeah, you could move. Yeah, you could. Well, there is a monster engaged with you, but you can move half speed away. Yes.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. I'm moving half speed away towards the door.
Okay.
On my movement.
Okay. Basically, is everyone moving toward the door? Is that pretty much what everyone's going to be doing?
What I want to do is if everyone exits behind me or ahead of me, I have, I think, 4 flasks of oil. So I like to just light everything in this room if everyone exits before me.
Okay,
Dang. That escalated.
nice, nice.
Okay. I
Okay,
think my first priority is I want to rendezvous with Barun, even if that's not where the door is, just to make sure that you don't get pinned in by these things.
I mean, it looks like Barun is himself moving toward the real exit. So I think that's what everyone is doing. So if everyone is basically just moving, I am just gonna have some. I'm just gonna make some attacks.
And Zal is with us too, remember?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yes, we do have a 5th player character with us. That is Zalalazaz, the pull up a sheet just so I make sure. Zalazaz the Sporadic is an NPC that is played by another player that isn't with us tonight and probably won't be with us next week, but will hopefully be with us the week after that. But yeah, we're bringing, and Zalalazaz is a wizard. So he is also in the party. So I'm going to roll a couple of, I'm going to roll 2 piercer attacks on everybody as you move toward the exit. So versus Caldas. Caldas, what is your armor class? 2. Okay. And piercers are. Okay, so we're gonna go. That's a miss, and that is a miss. We're gonna have 2 attacks on Woodchuck. What is your armor class?
That's a 5.
It's 5.
Ooh.
That's a hit. And that's me. You were hit once. Not really doing critical hits for monsters. What do these guys do for damage? So a piercer falls on you from the ceiling, and it does 9 points of damage.
Ouch, that's quite a few of them.
Would you tell us what that looks like?
It's pretty gruesome. Like that. I think at first glance, it looks like this could take me out. It's like that's a third of my total hit points. So I think it gets me in the left shoulder. And I've been able to weave like just enough that it wasn't just like right through the back and through my heart. So clips my shoulder really, really badly. If there were mechanics that give you penalties on rolls, like I'd probably not be holding my crossbow as well for aiming purposes. But thankfully, there's not. And I think I grit my teeth and hold in a breath, but as soon as we're clear of this room, I'm probably gonna let out a pretty loud scream.
Okay, we're gonna do 2. Thank you. We're gonna do 2 attacks on Jerry. What is your armor class?
Yeah, I'm holding a torch instead of my shield, so instead of 0, it's going to be 2.
Armor class 2. Okay. Get the dice roller up. Here we are. That's another hit. Yeah, you are also hit once. Let's roll another one for 3 points of damage. What does that look like when lands on you, Jerinomus?
Yeah, I think it's like a square hit, but because I'm wearing heavy armor. I think the damage comes from just sort of right, it doesn't, I don't think it cuts into me, but it impacts the armor, and it kind of just jars and it rattles me as I'm running along, and suddenly realizing that my torch is doing nothing for me. So I think I swear an oath under my breath about that knoll, and continue on.
Got it. Okay, and finally, 2 attacks on Baroon.
AC 1.
And they both, yeah, piercers fall from the ceiling, but you know they're coming now, and you are able to kind of keep an. I'm guessing you. I'm well, rather than me narrate it. So, how do you avoid these piercers that are falling from the ceiling on you?
You roll a 3 and an 8. Yeah, so they don't even come full close to me. He's keeping an eye out, but he's running as quickly as he can while he's yelling at his comrades, and he's surprised to see that actually none of them come close, and they smash and bit, and he gets hit by shrapnel as bits of rock hit his face, but he's like in slow-mo running through the flying rock all around him. Hey, do you want me to at least pick spell and potentially level up Zal while we're doing all this? Because I could do
that
this.
That is not a bad idea if you wouldn't mind doing that.
Okay, so if Jim does, I'm assuming, I don't know, Jim can always retcon it if there's something.
Exactly, Jim can always change things up.
Okay.
And I'm going to do 2 attacks on Zal as well. Ben, if you've got Zal's character sheet up, could you tell me what Zal's armor class is?
I would, yes. His armor class is, oh, that's not possible. Sorry. His armor class is 8.
Okay, he also got hit by one of these. 4 points of damage.
Okay, I'm writing it down. I don't think he was hurt. He's down.
I don't think he was hurt last time, no.
Okay, all right.
Well, this is an NPC, so I guess I'll describe this. So yeah, I think I want to say Zal is fascinated by these things, and he's like, as he's like quickly moving his way through, he's like glancing up, but one falls, like he sees one fall, and he's kind of like watching it fall, and he steps back to avoid it, and that piercer and the other one that was on the ceiling must have been coordinating, because he backs, because like the one he was looking, he's looking at the one that was falling, and he didn't see the one that actually fell on him, and it it lands on him. I think it like lands on his shoulder, cuts him a bit, but he's able to shake it off. Anya, I did roll attacks against Caldas. Those were misses. How do you get across? How do you avoid these falling monster stalactites?
I think I'm just like I want to say like doing parkour in the wall, trying to avoid the piercers, until basically just watching everyone either follow me or pass me through. I'm just on the wall.
Okay, and you all make it out. You all make it out of the room. When these piercers fall, they do have like very stubby little legs, so they kind of like pick themselves up, and they just kind of like, they can shuffle around, but they do not move quickly at all on the ground, and you're very easily able to outdistance them if you're not standing nearby. And yeah, you make it to that entrance, which opens up into a short worked stone corridor. Let me do a quick reveal there. It's a short corridor that opens up into a room. And why don't I just reveal the whole room? Okay. Looking at the time, why don't I describe the room? Why don't I describe the room that you now find yourselves in, and then I think I'll call our first break because we're nearly on the hour. So this is a large square. This is a large rectangular worked stone room. There is it looks like on the far wall, there's a single wooden door that leads to the south. However, this room is not uninhabited. Inside this room are a number of gnolls and these gnolls seem to have pets, but these are really, really big pets. These are like snarling, like giant, these are like giant hyenas that are like the size of a pony. And they apparently were ready for you, hearing the commotion in the room that you just traversed. And basically, as soon as you walk into the room, the gnolls, like kind of point at you, and then they let go of the rope leads that were on these giant hyenodons, the collars, and they grunt something in a language that, well, does anyone speak Gnoll? Well, they grunt something in a almost like in a they say something in an almost barking language. It's clearly language. They're not just barking. And you know that Gnolls can speak common because you spoke with one not too long ago, but these aren't speaking common right now. And a pair of very large monstrous hyenas are charging at you. And I think that is when the TV series is going to cut to a commercial. Let's take 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Folks have a preference? Let's go for, let's take a 5-minute break. Actually, let's take a 7-minute break and come back at 5 minutes after. That'll make it easier. So see you in 7 minutes at 5 minutes past the hour. And we're back. Okay, so you are standing in the entrance of this room. Move the marker to show like what room you all are in. And a pair of like giant hyena creatures are now charging at you, and there are 3 additional gnolls that are standing behind. I'm going to say, and they each have and they've got crossbows. So I think it's time to roll initiative. Do we have a volunteer from the studio audience on who wishes to do the honor of rolling initiative?
Arun has already done it.
Oh.
Oh wait, no, so that was a D4.
No, he rolled it now, right? Now he rolled a D6.
Yes.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, in the interest of time.
Oh, it's a tie. Let's re-roll. Okay, the party gets to act first.
Quick consult with the team. Should Zal be using up spells again, or should we keep those for later, like sleep or fireball, anything like that?
I think
I wouldn't recommend fireball in this room.
Yeah, I think sleep would be a great idea about now, personally.
Okay. I just don't know how much we want to hoard them, but yeah, there's not much time for discussion if you think it's a good idea.
Yeah, sleep has been a good room clearer.
Okay.
That is true.
And I'm forgetting, I don't know how spells work in this version. So if he has sleep memorized, it's a mix of 5e and 1e, right? So if he has sleep memorized and 2 slots for 1, he can use it twice, or does he need to have memorized it twice?
He would have needed, yeah, you need to specify like how many times they have memorized a specific spell.
Pure
So they
Vancian.
could choose, so if he's got 2 slots, he could choose to memorize it twice, or he could memorize sleep and some other spell. But you got to choose them ahead of time.
Okay, can I roll a 50% that he because I haven't chosen any spells yet. So can I roll 50% that he got sleep? How about that?
I mean, you can if you want to, or you can just say like, we'll just. I mean, if we want to just say that he's still got one, and that's his, and
Okay,
that's
great.
the spell. That's fine.
Okay, so let's do that. So he's gonna roll his second first level spell. He memorized sleep twice then.
Okay.
And let me roll for the HDs. He's gonna try to get those 3 gnolls first with the crossbows, and then the dogs if that's an option.
Okay.
And he is rolling. Let's see, sleep 2d8. Okay, so he's gonna roll 2d8.
Oh, that did not actually roll 2d8.
Effect. Oh yeah, effect 9.
no,
That
it
was
did.
the effect 9. Yeah, that's the 2d8. So that is 9 hit dice of monsters. So let me check to see those gnolls. 9 hit dice of monsters. That causes yeah, that causes all 3 of those gnolls to fall asleep.
And none of the dogs, right?
None of the dogs.
Okay. Well, that will.
And they're
save
not
us.
dogs. These are and they're not dogs. These are, again, they're pony size. I mean, these are basically, they're like monstrous hyenas. They stand about like 5. They stand about 4 feet tall at the shoulder. Their head is about like, their head is like looking at eye level with a human. They've got like glowing red eyes. They've kind of got, they've got glowing red eyes. These are clearly monsters. These are not just, these are not just like overgrown pets.
So this is not a offer them food and tell them they're good boys.
Yeah, I suppose you could try.
Kind of like to try.
I want to try. Yes.
But yeah, so okay, so the spell goes off. Nulls go down. Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think Woodchuck is gonna give a shot at taming one of these giant hyenas. So he reaches into his ration pack and probably has packed along some decent quality food and kind of dangles it out and then tosses it toward a corner and sees what happens.
Okay, you're trying to toss this thing some food. Let's see. Trying to think the best way to do a ruling in this case, because the rules don't, this is OSR, the rules don't actually handle this case, so the GM is going to need to make a ruling. Are you trying to are you trying to talk this thing? Are you trying to talk this thing down? You trying to?
I think the initial attempt is a distraction, and if that distraction is enough to work, then I might escalate to actually calming it down. So if it goes after the food, then I can take that to the next step. If it ignores it, then I want to be ready to fight. I know I won't get to fight this turn because this turn I'm trying to distract.
So I'm just going to do a I'm just going to do a quick interrupt. So we should probably have a bit of a discussion here to see if these things count as monsters or if these are pets, because they're like, giant. They're listed as hyenodons. That's the monster, and that's that's a monster. Like prehistoric, like prehistoric giant hyena things. So they're not domestic or harmless animals. You're not, the gnolls might have trained them some, but they're not really acting as pets. If you don't want to fight if you don't want to fight things that kind of look like dogs, even though they're kind of monstrous, I'm okay with that, and we can try to figure something else. I'm gonna.
They're
Yeah.
slobbering monsters with giant fangs and drooling.
And glowing red eyes.
Yeah, in my case,
Um,
it's not a veil situation for me.
Okay.
It's I want to see if I can have a creative solution to this.
No, I
Love
love it. I love where you're going
Okay.
with that, Vince. I was just noting that we have that.
Cool.
On the list.
I just wanted to know if I just wanted to make sure it was okay to fight these, these are basically they're vicious wild animals, but they're still, so they're not harmless or domestic animals, but I didn't know if that was going to step on any lines and veils. So I did want to check in before we proceeded with this encounter. And it sounds like we're good. Okay.
It eats your hand off. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I think let's actually engage some game mechanics. Why don't you make a charisma check?
Okay. Has a threshold modifier, just leave that blank. We'll
Yeah, just leave that
silence.
blank. I don't think there's any modifier here. Okay. I'm gonna say that's a success. You at least distract this one by food, and you've distracted it with food. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what that looks like?
Okay, I think that it still looks really angry. I think if I can write some plot into this, I think that the gnolls these are barely domesticated, if at all. It's the gnolls have been starving them, like they've not had anything to eat for a while, so that they would be primed to attack. So it goes after the meat as an easy option that I toss, and it is gone in an instant, and it starts to look back toward us.
I love it. You've distracted one. I'm going to say at least for a round. Anyone else want to take an action here? The other one, so one went for one food.
If I'm standing right at the door, what I want to see is if I can just lure the hyena into going past me and into the previous room, so that some piercers can fall into it.
Nice. You can absolutely try that. How do you give us a little more of the scene? I want a little more information about how you want to try to do that.
I think that as soon as we enter the room and see the gnolls, one of them charges straight at me, and maybe I want to say I tumble past between the hyena's legs, past it, and the monster just runs into the previous room. And if that's
Okay. Yeah. I think that so basically if I can paraphrase to see if this meshes what you just said. So you're kind of standing at the door, you're waiting for the thing to run at you, and then at the last second you want to I don't know, dive and tumble through its legs.
Yeah, I want to
So
Dark
it runs
Souls.
runs right past you.
Yeah.
Awesome. 100%. I love that. I think that's going to be a dex check.
Yep. I just click on Dex, right?
Just click on dex, and
That's 17.
Okay. Yeah. So on skill checks in OSE, you want to roll low.
It's
You want to
low,
roll.
yeah.
You want to roll. You want to roll your score or lower. So I think so it looks like a 17 is going to not work. So I'm going to say, dude, if you have an idea, go for it.
It still happened, but I'm taken back into the previous room.
Oh, I love it. It barrels in. You misjudged how fast this thing was going. It like barrels right into you,
Yeah.
and it it bull rushes the two of you back into the piercer room. I love it. While that is going on, Jerinomus and Baroon, do either of you want to take any action?
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. I suppose I'm going to run behind the creature that just barreled my friend Caldas back into the other room. I'm going to kind of run behind it, and if I can catch up to it, I'll make a melee attack with my staff, I think.
Okay, you can totally charge. You can totally close and get into range and make an attack.
All right, so I will use my staff of snakes then. All right.
Okay, that is a
So
solid hit.
20. Yeah, so that would be a -3. So yeah, 6 damage. And then trying to remember how it works. I think it has to make a save.
I forget. Let me look that up.
Using your staff as a leash. Like it.
Yeah, pretty much. I want to incapacitate it so that Caldas
Stops attack.
can get out of the room with the piercers.
Potions, rod, staff. Staff of snakes. On a successful hit on a human size or smaller creature. Okay.
So it's not going to be the catch.
It's not going to be. Yeah, this thing is bigger than a human. Yeah, on a successful hit on a human-sized or smaller creature, the wielder of the staff may speak the command word, causing it to transform into a serpent and coil around the victim. This creature we have established is, doesn't really have size. This thing is bigger than a person. I think I established this thing's like the size of a pony.
Got it.
All right. Well, Baroon is looking left and right, impressed by everyone's creativity at getting at these things. And then he sees the huge fangs of that pony-sized creature about to close on Caldas or Tuck. And he just shrugs and raises his axe and tries to bring it down on it.
Go for it.
I clicked on it, but who knows where my threshold. Here we go.
Yeah, you can just click.
15.
That will hit.
Okay, well that is only 4 damage.
Okay. Yeah, you hit a glancing blow. What does that look like?
Well, I'm coming at it from the side or something, and I'm just running towards it and yelling at it, over here, and slashing on the shoulder. And he moves away, so it's a nasty dent on the shoulder, which shows blood and maybe even a little bit of bone, but it doesn't seem to incapacitate it much.
Okay. And Zal casts the spell at the beginning of the round. So yeah, I guess it is now the monster's turn. The gnolls are still asleep. I'm going to say that the I'm going to say that the one hyena that's still in the original room is taking. I'm going to say it's going to take this action to basically eat the food that Woodchuck threw at it. But it's going to eat it this round. So next round, unless you can come up with something else to do, it's probably going to be interested in you again. The other one is going to attack. So I'm going to, so both Baroon and Father, so both Baroon and Jerinomus hit it. So I think it's going to wheel and attack one of them. I'm going to say low is Baroon, high is Jerinomus. That is low, so it's going to attack Baroon. Rolls a 9. Baroon, what is your armor class?
1.
Okay, that is a miss.
It snaps towards me, but Baroon recoils, and there's an audible snap as the jaws close about a foot from his face.
Yeah, you got a good look at this thing's teeth. No, its teeth are like that long.
And its breath is terrible.
Oh, its breath is, ooh. Its breath smells like death. Far worse than cat breath. That is the end of round 1. It is now round 2, and it is the party's turn. Let's start with Woodchuck in the room with the hyena that has just finished its food that you threw at it. It's now looked up and it's now looking right at you. What do you do?
Okay. Given our narrative framing, I was going to ask about details of how sneak attacks work, but it sounds like not going to get the drop on it.
I think narratively, well, hold on a moment. Let me think about this. I did say it pretty much was going to take its action to eat the food. I'm going to say it is concentrating on the food right now. So if you are able to successfully move silently behind it, I'm going to say, yeah, I think you said that you threw it in a corner. So it does have to have its back to you.
Yeah, let's
So
go for that. Yeah, I don't think I
so-
have enough food to satiate it.
Got
So
it.
I'm going to have to transition into an attack.
So you will need to move silently to get up to it. So go ahead and make a move silently check.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, nope.
okay. You can still close an attack, but as you get close, you see its ears perk up, and it kind of like glances over its shoulder as it sees you approach.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and give an attack with my short sword. So it's
Oh, that's a hit.
21 and a good hit too.
Good solid hit. And I think Zal has stayed in the room with you, and I think Zal will probably throw a dagger at it.
And I think as far as visual framing of it, like I'm trying to move in really closely. Its ears perk up. It starts to glance toward me, and I get it like right in the nose because that's where you hit these things. But it's a good solid face hit instead of grazing.
I think it's a miss, right? Unless they're armor class 10.
Yeah, that's going to be a miss.
Okay.
I'll just tell you, the Hyenodons, their armor class is 7.
Okay. So Zal throws a dagger, but it clanks in the corner, making noise. and he glances back instinctively back at the sleeping gnolls to make sure they're not waking up.
They're still asleep for now. Back in the other room, Caldas, Jerinomus, and Baroon are fighting the other one. Caldas, what are you doing?
If I'm able to reach my sword, which is calf sword, I would
Yep.
like to just stab at the Hyenodon.
Yep, go for it.
Where's the submit? That's 7.
Oh yeah, that's a really solid.
Which-
That's a really solid miss. What? Tell us. So why
Is it-
weren't AC? That's attacks a 7. He rolled a 5 on the die plus 2.
Yeah. I'm still a bit confused. Sorry.
Nope. Yeah, it's a 5 on the die plus 2 is a 7. So that didn't even hit armor class 9. So yeah, that's you needed a 10. You need a 10 to hit
A
this
10.
thing. Yeah, what is that? How is this thing able to elude your sword swipe?
Oh, wow.
Mm. I think I've just been pushed into this room. I'm struggling to get my sword out, and maybe it's just the struggle of wrestling the.
Got it.
Uh,
You're just kind of off balance.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Jeronimus, what are you doing?
Yeah, so I think I just I've just swung my staff and given it a solid thwack, and I expected it to burst into a snake and wrap this thing up, and it doesn't happen. So I think if I can, I'm gonna drop the staff, pull out my mace and shield, and whack it with my mace.
Go for it.
All right. Okay, so 13, so that should hit armor class 4.
Yep, that is a hit.
4 damage.
Okay. Yeah, that's you hit it. It wasn't like, it wasn't like a fatal blow or anything. This thing still looks like it has a lot of fight left in it, but give us a little more of that scene. What did that look like?
Yeah, I think it was probably focused on Caldas, taking her sword out to hit it, and that was kind of it had run into Caldas initially. So I think it's just kind of still facing away from me, and I just give it a good solid crack, like right on the shoulder blade.
Okay. And Baroon, what are you doing?
Baroon, seeing the Hyenodon slowly turning back towards Woodchuck, and Woodchuck alone with that thing in the corner over there, he gives Father Tuck and Caldas a kind of you got this kind of nod, and he runs, raising his axe over his head, charging at the Hyenodon that is facing Woodchuck just as it's turning around.
Okay. Yeah,
Uh,
you close and you get a swing at it.
Okay.
Okay, that's a really solid hit.
21 for 11 damage.
You have wounded this thing pretty badly. It's still up. It looks like it may have and a wounded animal is can be even more dangerous, but you've wounded it pretty badly. What does that look like?
It is a grievous hit to the back, the spine, over its head as it was turning around, and it's there's a lot of blood pouring down on its fur, but it just seems to be crazed and even madder than it was before. and the calm that came from biting on a little bit of food is just gone. And I'm guessing Baron's in trouble.
Okay, and that I got everyone this round, right? Okay. Let's stay in this room, and so this thing is I think the way I tend to have non-intelligent creatures respond is they basically like try to hit the thing that hit it most recently. So it is going to so it like spins around quickly and snaps and tries to take a chunk out of Baroon. Think that's gonna hit.
Armor class 1.
19. So yeah, that hit. Yeah, that had armor class -5. So
Wow, they're good.
so yeah, that's gonna do some damage. That does 10 points of damage.
All right, grievous hit. I think it probably chomps on Baron's arm and plunges its long fangs, slobbering fangs, into the meat of its arm, and Baron does not scream in pain. But if he was the kind of warrior who screams, he would be screaming. Instead, his teeth grind.
And in the other room, you both hit it last time, so I'm just gonna roll randomly. Low, it's going to attack Caldas. High, it's going to attack Jerinomus. Low, so it's going to attack Caldas. Caldas, what is your armor class?
2.
2. Okay, alas, that is a hit.
No.
This one does 8 points of damage.
Eight points of damage.
And I will ask, what does that look like?
I think I'm just sort of pinned down by the creature, and it's taking with its paws, probably scratching at me and just just biting at me.
Yep. Okay, it is now the that was all. Oh, right. You're in the piercer room. A few more piercers like fall from the ceiling around you. One, however, hits the hyenodon.
Plan is working.
Exactly the way we drew it up. It's exactly what we wanted. You wanted it to just bowl you over and knock you down in there.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Sounds like something Woodchuck would have devised.
Yeah, one of the piercers falls from the ceiling and like lands and it lands like right between the hyenodon's shoulder blades. It like yelps in pain. It's still alive, and it's kind of thrashing at this point. So it's probably not quite in its death throes, but this thing is like really badly hurt. So yeah, that was the end of round 2. Top of round 3. It is the player character's turn. Why don't we stay in the piercer room? Caldas, what are you doing?
I'm gonna try to go for the final stuff.
Go for it.
Yeah, just like right here. Have sword. That's 15 hit armor class 2.
Okay, you have finished it off. What does that look like?
I think my sword or calf sword just goes through. What's this part? Its chin.
Yeah, it goes up like up under up under its chin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I probably just let it kind of fall on top of me to protect me from the rest of the piercers.
There you go. Okay. With the Hyenodon in this room dead, what does Father Tuck do?
Well, I think what I really just see is like the sword flash, and I see like a spurt of blood and like this thing, just like still on top of Caldas. So I think I kneel down and start casting a cure wound spell on Caldas. And are you okay? And like put my hands on her and try to heal her.
It worked.
So if I
You're
remember,
gonna cast a cure wounds.
yeah, I think cure light wounds. I think is it 1d6 plus 1? Maybe double check.
That may be it. I don't remember. Hold on, let me look it up. Oh.
Cure light wounds 1d6 plus 1. Yeah. So should I roll the d6?
Yeah, go ahead and roll a d6. Or you can use the,
Okay.
oh, there we are. Okay, so Caldas regains 6 hit points. Meanwhile, in the other room,
Caldas, I hope this blood isn't yours, is it? Yeah.
Zal throws
Fine.
one of his magical daggers
okay.
at the creature.
Is he throwing it or is he,
Yeah, throwing it. +1, -1. Huh. Okay.
okay, that is a hit.
I don't know why there's a -1. Hold on.
Is he not very dexterous?
No, he's pretty dexterous actually, but I think that doesn't count for the damage. Right? It doesn't count for damage on range, so it should be plus. It just should be +1 for dagger +1. Right?
Oh, yeah, I don't know why that.
What is a dagger's damage die? Is it a d4 -1?
Good question.
Did you use the range? Did you? I think he's got that. I think he's got it listed twice. I think you might have used. I think you might have used the melee button.
No. Oh, okay. Possible.
Because that looks like it's a strength that looks like it's his strength modifier, which is -1.
Oh, I think you're
Which
right.
would still, I mean, a 12 would still hit anyway.
Okay, so it's 5 damage then.
5 damage. Okay, yeah, that's that hit as well as a dagger can hit. What does that look like?
It just goes into its chest, and it's not a very long blade, and it's a very big chest, but it stays planted there.
There we go. Woodchuck, what are you doing?
Yeah. How bad is this thing looking? For
It is
wear?
not looking. It is looking pretty badly. It's pretty badly beat up. It's bleeding really badly, especially from the wound in its side, where Baroon hit it with the axe.
Yeah. Do either Zalez or Baroon still have a torch out, or are torches? Did they have to get dropped to the ground for combat?
I was going to say they're probably dropped. I'm guessing they're probably dropped in the ground. This room was lit, by the way. There are some torches and sconces on the walls.
Okay.
Yeah, my weapon is two-handed, so.
Yeah. It's what I kind of like to do. I'd love to throw a flask of oil onto it and give somebody else an opportunity to hit it with a torch.
Molotov cocktail. Yeah. I mean, you can rig. I mean, if you want to rig it as a Molotov cocktail and throw it, you can do that, and you can do both in the same round.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, you rig a Molotov cocktail. You light it off of, you do a quick lighting, you throw it. So yeah, I guess that'll be a ranged attack.
Okay. I can I'll use trying to think of the fastest way to do that.
Yeah, if you've already got a ranged, if you just go ahead and click another ranged weapon, it'll be the same.
Oh, that probably missed it.
Okay. Hey, I get to use the grenade-like missile bounce table. Give me just a moment to find it.
Oh, we never get to use that.
I never get to use the grenade-like missile bounce table. Now I just need to find the table. I know it's in here.
Another great plan from Woodchuck executed perfectly.
I don't want to take the it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I'm just remembering from my old days. So it's 1. So if you're in the direction of throwing, you basically look at a you look at a you basically look at an 8 you look at a 3x3 grid. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that right? 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so this one falls straight short. And so it's not caught. So here's I think what happens. The Molotov cocktail, you hit the thing, you hit the monster, it doesn't break, it bounces off back toward you and then hits the floor. And so now there's a pool of flaming oil on the floor, but kind of between you and it.
Clearly, plan executed to perfection. Now, when it tries to attack me, it has to go through a pool of burning oil.
I was going to say,
Exactly
and
what I planned on.
yeah, I'm going to say, and Baroon, you are on the other side. You are on the other side of the burning oil, since you are actually in melee with this thing. So let's go to Baroon.
Baroon is starting to feel it. I mean, he's taking 18 points of damage, so he could be down. He could be down very soon. But given the fact that he's caught between the flames and the monster, he's gonna do what he does best and try to go for it, because running away seems pretty doomed at this point. So he winces at the pain and just goes for it with his blade, and he misses.
Ooh.
So distracted by the fire, his blade just swings right by the head of that thing that moves away and looks at it. And even though he knows these things can't smile, it does look like it gives it a malicious grin as it prepares to eat its head off.
Okay. Has everyone gone this round? Okay. Well, I think the Hyenodon only has 1 target, so it's gonna go for Baroon. And I rolled a 4, so that's a miss.
I think it too is distracted by the fire, and Woodchuck saved the day once more.
You are the only one in melee with it, so I think, why don't you go next? And and that's another miss.
Help! Help!
I hear your cat joining. Sounds like your
Yeah.
cat has joined the chorus there.
Yes, help, little help. Wait, but on that round, don't Tuck and Caldas get a chance to do something before that thing
Oh.
bites my head off? I'm desperately
Yeah,
trying to
I
get
was
out
just
of
going to
here.
say, so Caldas and Tuck, you are in the other room. As a couple of piercers land beside you, you decide that it might be time to get out of there.
Yeah, for sure. If also I have a couple of healing potions, so if Baron is screaming for help, then I for sure grab one and just run
Okay.
towards him.
So going into the other room, you see there is a pool of oil that is flaming. There's a pool of flaming oil on the floor. I'm going to say the pool of flaming oil is probably here. The hyena is in this corner. The Baroon's in this square. Woodchuck and Zal are like, back over here a little bit, throwing things at the hyena. At this point, firing at the hyena, you're basically having to fire over the over the pool of flaming oil. I mean, the flames aren't like shooting up like really, really high. They're only going up like they're going up maybe like maybe a foot, possibly 2, but not even a meter tall.
Could
Oh,
I
and just
leap over the flames?
100%.
So
I don't even think we need a roll here. If you want to leap over the flames, I just think that's cool.
yeah, I think I'm gonna just leap over the flames. And I don't know if it's possible to do these two things, but if I'm next to Baron, I just like I don't want to say drop it because that sounds like I throw it. I want to give him the potion and just whack
You
at
can have,
this.
I mean, sure, you can have like, you can have like the potion in one hand and your sword in the other, and you like jump in and like attack the,
Hold my beer.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can totally do that. Go ahead and make your attack roll.
Yes, with calf sword. No!
Ooh. Natural
No!
1.
No!
You know, there's a reason why Calf got killed with that sword. It didn't. It'll betray you.
Maybe it's really cursed.
It kind of seems like it sometimes. It really does.
Mr. Webb! Run!
Now I don't like the whole critical fumble thing. But this is a pretty I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna say that that when you leapt over the flames, you landed awkwardly. Oh, I know. Maybe there was a little bit of oil that hadn't caught fire that splashed over here, and when you hit the ground, you slipped a little bit. You were able to hand the potion to Baroon, but in like not falling flat on your face before a frenzied monster with fangs the size of your thumb. You're not really even able to get an attack on this thing. You're just trying to stay on your feet. Let's see.
I still need an action.
I was going to say, yeah. So Woodchuck needs to go. Yeah. Why don't we give? Yeah. Woodchuck, what are you doing?
Okay. I think it stands to reason that after our first encounter, I would have reloaded my crossbow before we made it into here. So I think I just set my sword down on the ground and take my crossbow off my back, level it, try to make sure I don't hit Caldas, and fire into the fray.
Okay. Take a shot.
I missed.
That's wild.
There's a lot
Shot.
going on, and like the fire, it distorts.
Oh
I can't
yeah, the heat the shimmer from the heat You
Yeah.
got it.
And then through the flames, slowly walking in his robes flowing around him, raising a dagger in front on top of his head, we see a Zal approaching, and he throws and throws a 12, hitting a
Yep.
armor class of 7.
Yep, that's a hit for
And
1
he
point
does
of
1
damage.
damage. That's Zal. He's reliable.
Has everyone gone?
I haven't yet.
Oh, you haven't yet.
Um,
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think what happens is I kind of Father Tuck, he's kind of this middle-aged, overweight friar. He comes huffing and puffing kind of behind everybody. And he always wears this sort of very simple woven kind of wool brown robe over his plate mail armor. But now it's kind of tattered and torn. And I think as I come in, I just tear it off, and you see, no longer the jolly friar, but a warrior revealed. And I toss that brown robe over the flames to kind of give myself a little safe passage over the flames as I come in, and raise my mace and try and give this thing a good thump right on the skull.
Okay, let's roll for thumping.
All right, 9 damage. So that will be a hit.
You thumped it done good, and it is you have taken it out. You've taken it out. Go ahead and tell us what that looks like.
Yeah, so I'll just pick up the scene from there. Yeah, just this crack of just solid connection. Good old mace on skull action, and I think this thing just kind of just lets out this grunt and and just kind of collapses to the floor.
Okay.
And, the fat friar is standing there like some kind of action hero, for a moment.
I love it. I love it. Okay, the combat is over. You do still have 3 sleeping gnolls. I think many of you have gotten pretty badly beat up in this fight.
We have.
What would you like to do?
I have 3 potions of healing, not including the one I just gave to Baron. So if anybody needs to use one of them, I have 3 more.
That is nice.
I'd be rude to turn down an offer of a potion of healing. I adjust my elven cloak a little bit to make sure that I don't show that I'm carrying a potion of healing myself.
Pretty sure that's D6 plus 1, but let me double check that.
Yeah, it's a D6 plus 1.
Oh, okay.
I also
there we go.
have another healing spell. I can go ahead and cast that on. It looks like Balroon is probably the most injured at this point. Maybe not anymore after the potion, but
Well, I'm still quite short. I'm still short like 11 points.
Oh gosh, that's what I get for drinking somebody else's potion of healing.
12. Actually, I'm
It's
short 12
1d6 plus
points,
1.
so I could probably use it if you want me to be in the
yeah,
front lines again.
on the front lines. I think I will. Yeah, so I will. I'll roll a d6 for that healing spell then. Okay, well, heal 2 hit points. You're welcome.
Thank you. It's something.
I think we tie up the gnolls.
I have 2
Stuff
more.
their
I'd
noses.
like to use one. So if you want another one, Baron, maybe it's the time.
I'll take it if it's okay to take more than one.
Yeah.
Thank you, folks, for stitching me up. Okay, I'm still a few short, but that's much better. I'll happily take a few hits.
I think Woodchuck at a moment when he thinks nobody is watching, drinks his own potion of healing.
Okay. So you take some time, you like drink your potions, you do some spells, and then you to heal yourself back up some. You then I think you said you wanted to tie up the gnolls. Are you
Yeah.
searching? Okay, yeah, you can do that without waking them up. Are you searching them?
Yes, we are.
I assumed Woodchuck already has.
Yeah.
So
We
each
just-
of the gnolls, is wearing studded leather armor. You know, you can take it if you wanted to. They've each got a scimitar and they've each got a crossbow. So that's 3 scimitars, 3 crossbows, if you want to take them. They also each have 10 gold pieces and 5 electrum pieces, and one of them is wearing a ring.
I'm
Ooh.
happy to write that down in the treasure A3.
Okay.
So that's 30 gold pieces, right?
That's a total, yeah, between the 3 of them, that's a total of 30 gold pieces and 15 electrum pieces.
Okay.
Yes.
What kind of
I'll
ring
take
and on what
the
finger?
crossbow.
Is this Noel married? Did we just make
This-
somebody a widower? Well, no, we didn't because they're not dead.
No, they are not dead. The ring is the ring's interesting looking now that you've got it in your hand. Yeah, this ring it's completely unblemished. It is a gold ring. It's kind of wide. It's got like sigils or runes or something carved on, like etched into it, both on the outside and on the inside. But you don't recognize the language.
Oh, I might though. Because if it's non-magical, somehow I can't understand when people talk languages, but I have an 80% chance of being able to read non-magical text
Nice.
in any language, including dead languages and basic codes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, read languages, decipher script. I'm going to tell you right now, this is some kind of magical language.
Okay. You could have let me roll for it, and if I failed,
Eh, I'll just tell you. I'll just tell you it's some kind of magical language, and like just holding this ring in your hand, it almost feels like it's vibrating, but not. I don't know. This thing's weird.
so I think I hold it up to Zalaz and or Zalaz, say, can you take a look at this? And if he tries to take it from me, I say, with your eyes.
I'll take Zal if that's okay. So like he does reach for it and you pull it back and Zal shoots you a he like shoots you he shoots you a disapproving look. But then he does then like leans in and like looks at it from a couple of angles. And he says, I think it's probably magic enchanted in some way, but I'd need to handle it and probably cast a detect. I'd probably need to like do some magical tests on it to tell you exactly what it was. Usually though, if you slip the ring on, usually though, if you slip the ring on, you just kind of know what it does.
Woodchuck's the kind of person who takes that as an invitation to slip the ring on. Can I have to, like, I know fifth ed, there's weird stuff on like, I imagine I can't have 10 rings on, but I have a ring of fire resistance already.
Got it. In this edition, there's really, there's no item slots. There's no like resonance. There's no maximum number of items you can have. It's just, if it makes sense for you to, you probably can't wear more than 10 rings, but And two rings of the same thing, they generally don't stack. So if you have
Yeah.
two, so like if you have, so you can certainly wear 2 rings of protection plus 1 if you want, but only the stronger one's going to have effect.
Okay.
And I'm just going to tell you, this is a fairly powerful weapon. This is a pretty powerful item. This is a ring of free action.
Oh. I need a reminder on what that does because I have vague memories of.
Basically, when you're wearing this, if you're wearing a ring of free action, I'll just read. I'll pull up and read the description. But basically, you can't be. Basically, you're immune to getting like stuck in things. You can like freely walk through mud. You can freely walk through webs. You can freely move underwater. But I'm just gonna. I'm looking up the actual item here.
And I think like
I am hoping that it is in Old School Essentials here because this is an item from. One moment. Let me get my first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Dungeon Master's Guide because this item is not in Old School Essentials. Fortunately, it was on my bookshelf right over there. So, yeah, we're going back to we're going old school.
Nice.
I
feel like
the description.
I played so many Baldur's Gate video games, which that was based on AD&D second edition. But I remember in those, like I think like you couldn't like hold person and things like that wouldn't work on you if you had the ring also.
So this ring enables the wearer to move and attack freely and normally, whether attacked by a web, hold, or slow spell, or even while underwater. In the former case, the spells have no effect, while in the latter case, they move as normal speed and does full damage even with cutting weapons, blah, blah, blah. This does not, however, enable water breathing. So yeah, basically you're immune to magical and you're immune to magical effects and normal and non-magical effects that would affect your movement. So if, for example, if the module said that this is a big field of mud and creatures moving through like the knee-deep mud move at quarter speed, you can move normal speed through it. You'll be immune to hold spells. You'll be immune to you're immune to paralysis. You're immune to web.
So if I'm immune to web, yeah, I'm just sorry, I can just jump right to the question, which is like, if somebody ties me up, I'm still tied up.
You're still tied up. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Still seems like a handy, thievy kind of thing. I think that I offer Zal my ring of fire resistance because this feels more on brand to me. So for his help in at least making me feel confident enough that I'm not going to put it on and explode. I offer that as like, let's make a trade. You know what magical things are. I like this magical thing.
I think he probably likes it. I think he likes I'm gonna write it down in his inventory.
Yeah, go ahead. Put the ring of fire resistance in Zal's inventory. Look at time. Why don't we take a quick, we're now out of combat. You've done some treasure. Why don't we take a 5-minute break? Come back at 12 minutes after. Okay. And we're back. So I assume you're going to tie up the gnolls and just kind of leave them in the corner or something like that. You press on and explore some more like windy passages. I'm not going to bother rolling for. I'm not going to bother rolling for random monsters here. You eventually come to a kind of interesting looking room. And I was saying to the other players, I think we'll have time for one more encounter area. This one's not a combat. This one's going to be one of those like weird OSR puzzle. This is going to be one of those weird OSR puzzle rooms. So let's see how this goes. The passageway enters a 30-foot wide, 70-foot long room with a 20-foot ceiling. Stone steps descend into a pool of white, bubbling, translucent goo. Stairs emerge from the muck at the other end of the room. A 1-foot wide stone bridge arches some 5 feet above the pool, crossing all the way to the other end of the room. Bisecting this room at exactly halfway across this bridge is a 30-foot wide, 20-foot high, 5-foot thick wall of transparent, crackling blue fire that leaps from wall to wall and from ceiling to the surface of the goo. The air smells as if a lightning bolt has struck nearby. So like I said, this is one of those like weird OSR room traps or like room puzzles. So those stairs descend into this pool of goo. 5 feet above the pool of goo is a thin stone bridge. But exactly halfway across the room, there's this sheet of there's this vertical sheet of like blue fire that's like shimmering back and forth, like from wall to wall and from floor to ceiling.
Can
I
I
would-
poke?
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna poke the goo with a 10-foot pole
Okay.
just to see if it like eats up my pole or anything like that.
Not eat up the pole. It's a little viscous. It's probably about the thickness of like motor oil.
And the flames are going from the very surface of.
Yeah, it's going
this.
down to, yes, the flame goes from like, the very surface of it goes down to the surface of this pool of goo. And it only goes up 5 feet.
How deep does my pole go into the goo if I keep on sticking it?
Well, from the stairs, like probing in, like I'm assuming you're like walk down to like just like step above where the surface of the goo is. It goes, you can kind of feel you can definitely feel where the steps continue to descend, but you're not entirely sure you're not really sure how deep it goes.
Okay.
And you said it's only 5 feet up, but it goes all the way to the ceiling, right?
The sheet of fire.
Yeah, it's essentially blocking the whole open space, right?
It's blocking the
Everything-
whole open space. So let me just make sure I got that right.
We don't know if it goes under the goo, but it goes to the surface of the goo at the very least.
Yep.
Is
Yeah,
there?
it
Is
doesn't-
there?
It doesn't. I'm sorry. It only goes up. It only goes up 10 feet. So there's a 20-foot ceiling, like to the surface of the goo. The sheet of fire only goes up about 10 feet. So there's 10 feet of space above it.
Oh, well, we've got a rope. That's gonna get us over that.
Because
the
have a rope of
rope-
climbing.
Yeah, the rope of climbing could make a little an inverted U over it, right? Is that true? I mean, do I have the distance right, Mike? That the rope could, if the rope did invert a U over it, it would go over the wall?
Rope is 50 feet. The ceiling is 20 feet tall. Because I think it has to. I think the rope does have to like attach to a surface, but it can stiffen and become rigid.
Right. So I'm saying if we attach it, let's say that we attach it or we hold it on one end, it goes up it goes up 15, right? That
Yep.
clears the wall.
Oh, and basically have it loop back over, so you've got like an arch that you could conceivably shimmy up and then shimmy
an
back down
inverted
again.
U. Yeah.
I'm going to say, yeah, I think the rope can do that.
I mean,
That seems cool.
like then we could climb up, rappel, like shimmy on the top.
I'm
and
gonna,
climb down.
I'm just thinking about that. I think I'm gonna belay that, but it's still, I don't think you can like make it do a rigid arch like that. But what you could do is, this thing's 50 feet long and the ceiling's 20 feet high. What you could do is send it up to the ceiling, have it like anchor,
Yeah, I don't
have
need
it
to.
partially anchor on the ceiling and then come back down on the other side of the bridge. Is
I
that
mean,
what-
even if we don't, do we need to anchor it in the ceiling? If we anchor it on the ground, can't it go up and be rigid?
Yeah, it could go up. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It could.
So we could
Oh, that's
just-
true. If you could anchor it here, you could go up. Yeah, you could go up, and then you could just climb up and then drop down from the other side.
Right. If we can have it angled or curved, which would be ideal. Ideal would
So
be
we don't
to do
drop
it-
20 feet down from the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Well, I mean,
ideally
what I
we-
was thinking
terrible.
was, like have it
Triangle
go
it.
up, have it like, have
Oh, and
have
then
it
we all go up and then we let it swing.
Well, you have it go up, you have it attached in the middle. I mean, you don't have the end attached, like have the middle of the rope attached and then have the other end go down from the ceiling.
Oh
Just
yeah,
take
that's
a-
what yeah. But I
Yeah.
thought you told me I can't do that. But that's great.
I'm sorry. I thought you wanted to just kind of
No,
like do an
originally I
arch.
just wanted to
arch
do
in
an arch
midair.
over it. But if that
You
works,
can do the arch, but I think you're going to need to like anchor the middle. I think you're going to need to anchor the middle on the ceiling.
got
which
it. That's
is basically
great.
the same thing.
Yeah. And so because that is still, well, if we it's only 50 feet, the thing.
Yeah, but it's only 20 feet up.
It's only
I
20 feet
know,
high,
but,
so
you know,
we have 10 feet of
Pythagoras,
slack.
you
yeah, 10
know.
feet you got 10 feet of slack, so it's going to be it's going to be kind of a narrow pair. It's going to be kind of a narrow triangle, but you can do it.
Okay, and it just needs to find some place on the ceiling to anchor to, right? Assuming there's, I don't know.
I'm going to say I'm just going to say yeah. I mean, it's a stone ceiling, so and this thing can. And the rope of climbing can basically attach itself to any solid surface. It doesn't even need to like tie. It just can basically adhere.
Well, that's certainly a solution. That probably
That
would
works
be
for me.
Zal's proposal. Varun's proposal is probably to hit the blue wall of electricity with his axe. So I think Zal's is probably best.
Yeah, I think we should try the rope climbing. I really like that idea.
Do we
I think
like
still need
as
to-
as the crew is preparing that, Woodchuck is just going through like his standard operation of examining a room. So he's like bouncing coins against the surface to see, maybe they bounce up. He's just trying different things while the rest of the group is just like getting onto the bridge, getting the rope ready.
Yeah, and especially if you don't mind, Woodchuck, throwing something above to see if that triggers. Because if that triggers that it going up, that would be bad.
Yeah, I can try to arch a coin and see if the wall flame tries to catch us and block the coin from going over it.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be anything that's stopping or blocking.
Okay, that's rope of climbing. One at a time.
Yeah.
one at a time?
Go
Do we
first.
still need to balance in the narrow bridge in order to?
Well, I mean, you are going to need to. I mean, this bridge is only 12 inches wide, so this bridge is like only like that. So you are going to need to be careful. Let me take a look here.
We could all daisy chain together, so if somebody does slip, somebody else can jump off the other direction.
The other end, yeah. Well, but it's only 5. How much is 5 feet? Well, it's
Yeah, we'll
like-
keep short ropes that we do it in pairs rather than the whole group.
Before we go through, can we throw some of the goo at the fire?
Mm.
Sure, you can scoop up the goo. Yeah, you can scoop up the goo and throw it at the fire.
Yeah, I like to do that. See if there's any effect to that.
You throw the goo at you throw the goo at the fire and it sizzles a little bit, but it seems to like it seems to more or less just kind of like go right through it. So like, and I mean, this is like, again, it's more like it's like throwing a viscous liquid. It's not like you can scoop it up and pack it into a ball or anything like that. But yeah, you could conceivably, like scoop some up and like, yeah, you could scoop some up in your hand and throw it. And getting it on your hands doesn't, I mean, it's, it's, and at first, I said it was like viscous like oil. It's not oily at all. It's like, I mean, it almost feels like water, but it's thick.
Wait, you got that on your hands? I don't recommend getting this on your hands. We don't know where your hands have been.
Can we test? Well, since you got some on your hands, can we test if it's flammable?
Yeah,
Now
that's
that it's
why
on your
I was
hands?
throwing it at the fire. Well, I think this is magical fire, but yeah, maybe if there's anything else in my hand, I just throw it at the floor and maybe try to light it up.
Yeah, if you try to light it on fire, it does not appear to be flammable at all.
Okay.
In fact, I mean, if you've got a torch, if you've got a torch, and you try to hold the torch against it, it doesn't really do much of anything.
What does it smell like?
It doesn't smell like much. It really doesn't have any. It has no discernible odor. In fact, I mean, I'll go so far as to say it is odorless.
I'm feeling way better about this plan. So
yeah, I feel good about the plan that we have.
yeah.
But I want to try one other thing. We've tried to just like throw goop through. I want to get something like a coin kind of coated in it and throw it through the flame to see if the coin goes through without getting lit. Just to see if like perhaps there was an alternative solution, which is coat yourself in goo and go through the flame that way as like a flame retardant. But I like the solution that we have.
So
This is
if
just
you
me playing
want
with stuff.
So if you want to coat if you do like take a coin or something, you take a copper piece and you coat it with the goo, and it's a little sticky, but yeah, it is. You can certainly coat it with the goo, and you throw it, and it just flies. It seems to just fly right through the. It flies right through that wall of blue flame.
So of
And
course,
still has goo on it after.
Maybe the wall does nothing. Of course, is.
It's meant to intimidate.
I think in the same spirit of Woodchuck just putting on the ring that he just found without thinking too much about it. The impatient dwarf is gonna walk up to the blue thing, and touch it briefly with his finger.
If I can, I just grab you just before you do it.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
look at Sal and I say, the ring of fire. Ring of fire resistance. At least put on the ring of fire resistance.
Okay, well, assuming that Zal lends Baroon the ring of fire resistance, Baroon kind of grumbles, puts it on his finger, and then lightly pokes the blue thing.
You're gonna lightly poke the fire with your finger. It hurts. It's not. It feels a little like fire, but not exactly. It doesn't do. I mean, if you're just like touching it, it's like ow. It's not hot like fire per se. If you've ever, it's more like electricity.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I wouldn't be true to Jim if I didn't say that Zal goes back to the other room picks up one of the empty flasks that we used for healing potions and takes a sample of the white goo.
Okay,
So I'm gonna add a flask of white goo
flask of white goo. Go for it.
to Zal's inventory because I know Jim would do that.
I will. I'll dip
Oh,
my
and the other
finger.
the other thing, I do want to mention again that the pool is bubbling. Although when you scoop any up, when you scoop any up, you scoop some up and it's like fizzy a little bit, almost like almost like sparkling water or something like that. But holding it in your hand, again, you feel it like fizz a little, but it very quickly ceases to fizz.
And I'm anticipating it's of room temperature when
It's room temperature. It's
tepid.
Let's
Can
go
I-
for the rope plan. Rope.
And
rope.
I'm gonna take whatever parts of the whatever. Well, I'm guessing that Ayanodon ate all the food that Woodchuck threw in the corner, right?
Yep.
So
It
I'm
did.
gonna take some of my own rations, maybe a piece of beef tack or whatever, and I'm gonna throw it in the white goo. See if anything happens when it floats on the surface or drops in.
So what are you throwing in? Just
A piece of food, a piece of meat, a piece of
Okay.
dried meat.
Piece of dried meat. I'm gonna say it's you toss it in and I'm gonna say it sinks slowly. It like lands on the top a little bit, but it does start to sink. It does start to sink a little.
Okay, and nothing specific happens, right?
Nothing really specific seems to happen here.
All right.
Can I do one more test? I
Sure.
wanted to get one of my fingers coated in the goo.
Yep.
And then go up and touch the blue flame with a finger that's not coated and see how that feels, and then touch with the coated one and see how that feels.
Sure. They both hurt. The one without the one that you did not coat in the goo hurts more. So the bare finger hurts more. So it seems to
Okay.
offer some amount of insulation, but it's
Okay. So might insulate us against electricity is what this goo might do. Okay.
it gives you partial insulation against the electric shock. Partial. That's what testing seems to reveal.
Rope,
I'm glad
rope,
we saved
rope.
some of the goo. It might come in handy someday, but yeah, let's definitely go over.
All right, Caldas, you want to go first?
I'll go first. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's going to be a dexterity check.
And let's do the tying in pairs so that if somebody's gonna fall off the edge, they have a
It pulls the
partner
other person
that
off.
can
It
catch
pulls
them.
it pulls your partner off too.
Well, no, that the partner jumps off the other side. It's short rope, and that way the rope's gonna catch us on either end. You didn't have that as like that's an old style puzzle. I feel like that maybe middle school is where I heard that one.
Okay,
That's a
looks like-
fail.
Okay, you rolled another 17 on your dex check. Okay.
Yes! I only need a 16. And
Roll a d6. On a 1 or a 2, you're going to land in. You're going to like land in the. On a 1 or a 2, you are going to fall into the. When you fall, you're going to fall into the the blue flame thing. And you rolled a 6, so you do not. You merely fall into the pool.
okay. Is it swimmable?
The other thing I would like you to do is roll another d6. On a 1, 2, or 3, you are on a 1, 2, or 3, you're on the near side of that wall. On the 4, 5, or 6, you fell onto you made it across, but then you fell
Okay.
in. Okay,
That's a
you're on the other
6.
side. Yeah, splash, or I guess it's more like a splork. yeah, you fall in, you fall into the goo. You take no damage. This thing, it's not exactly like it's definitely like the sensation is weird. It's definitely like falling into a liquid, but it's falling into like it's almost like falling into like a vat of pudding. It's this it's a liquid, but it's kind of thick, so like moving through it is slowly, and you can swim in it, but it's hard.
Do I feel the bottom of the pool?
You do not feel the bottom.
Okay. So I'll just try to swim to the stairs and I'm okay. I'm okay. Doesn't seem to be toxic right now, at least.
I think
Like, so
Woodchuck
I'll
needs
go-
to jump in with his ring of free action, right? Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I'm still gonna try to climb over, which I should be pretty good at, but I'm not gonna be worried if I do fall into the goo. Yeah, because we don't know if the flame, it probably won't do anything if it goes below the surface, but if it does, just as soon not get caught with it there. So I'll still try to go over. Can I, instead of making a dex check, do a climb sheer surfaces check?
Absolutely. If you can, yeah, you can definitely do. Yeah, you can do that. I assume that's a better percentage.
Yeah, it's a 92%. So
Yeah, you can absolutely do climb. You can actually absolutely use your climb.
okay, so I got
Okay,
a
yeah,
60, counts as a success.
Okay, you are up and over.
All right, Baron's gonna try dexterity of 12. Four. Look at that.
You're up and over.
And he just he comes down and does he's seen a circus come around town, and he does the circus ending when he comes down.
Your gladiator training comes back.
As a gladiator training.
I love it.
Right. I will give it a shot as well. That is a fail.
Okay. We're going to do the same thing we did for Caldas. First of all, let's roll a d6 to see if you land in the, on a 1 or a 2, you're going to land into the electric fire. Want to roll a d6 there, or
You want me to roll it?
yeah, why don't you go ahead and roll a d6 on a. Okay.
Looks like I
You do
avoided
not
the
fall.
fire.
You do not fall into the fire. So you're merely going to fall into the goo. Roll another d6 on a 1, 2, or 3. You're on the near end. On a 4, 5, 6. You're on the far side. You are also on the far side. But you landed. Splunk into the goo.
I'm wearing heavy armor, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to swim in
Ooh,
this.
You are wearing heavy armor. Okay, I'm going to say you sink to the bottom.
okay, I think I jump in after you because
And,
I can swim.
That's true. You can easily swim through this.
Yeah, so I get a deep breath, jump in after, swimming easily.
And
We'll see how far down he is.
it is 15 feet deep. And I'm going to say that both of you realize once you're underwater for a moment that for whatever reason, whether it's magic or whatever, the bubbles that are coming through, you can even in the goo, you can actually breathe perfectly normally in this goo. It feels a little weird, but you can breathe perfectly normally in the goo.
Okay, so
I'm just like walking around down there.
Yeah,
like,
you
slowly
can
through
sink
the
to the
goop
bottom.
with
It's
my armor.
slowly, and it's slowly, and it's hard work to walk around, but you can just walk around down there. Woodchuck,
think-
you can swim normally as if this were water.
Okay.
Or if you,
Can
or
I
if you land on the,
not
or if you
see
like,
particularly well though.
you cannot see particularly well. This is an opaque kind of milky. I mean, it's kind of like, it's like translucent, milky.
Okay, so I think I want to get down to where Jerinomus is and tap on his shoulder and just make sure that he's headed in the right direction. Then I want to scour the bottom of this and just kind of do a quick sweep to see if there's anything valuable. There's probably occasional coins that other people have tossed into it trying to do experiments, but I'm not here to pick up pennies.
Okay, let's do this. There is something. There is something suspended in the goo. I'm gonna say, let's do this. Let's have some fun with dice. Jerinomus and Woodchuck each roll a d20. Whoever rolls the higher is the one who finds this.
You can probably, well,
Okay.
There you go. Just, classic thief. Like, I'm about to grab it, and then your little hand just snatches it.
So as you're like,
free action.
so as Woodchuck is swimming through this goo, as you do one stroke, and your hand lands on something solid that's kind of floating in the middle of the goo there, and you grab onto it, and you just feeling it. It is a sheathed sword. It is a sheathed sword.
That's exciting.
And I'm just going to say that at this point you can easily pull yourself. You can easily find your way to the other stairs, and you can pull yourselves out. And everyone
We've probably been doing this for like several minutes without ever coming up to surface, being like, "Oh, hey everybody, we're okay."
Yeah, I was going to say they've been underwater for like 5 minutes. Everyone. And it's kind of hard to tell where they are, because the whole thing is just bubbling. So you can't even see where their bubbles might be. But then trudging out of the goo on the stairs, is Jerinomus. And then not long thereafter, Woodchuck bobs to the surface and swims over.
We're not even out of
Viscous
breath.
white liquid just pouring off of me as I rise up out of the goo.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
You flick your hair, whatever hair Jerinomus has.
You're muted.
He's got the fringe. She's got the fringe of hair and then the bald top, like classic medieval monk style.
Oh, you were all right. What a relief.
It's actually quite lovely down there. I highly recommend it.
And look, Zal made it through the rope too.
Yeah.
Good job, Rizal.
Hey everyone, check this thing out I found down there.
Whoa, looked like a sword.
It is a short sword.
I draw it out of its sheath. Does it light up or anything?
It is. I'm just going to tell you, because having you poking. So here's the interesting thing. So when you does this work? So this is interesting. You when you draw the sword, the blade is invisible. It looks like you're just pulling a handle and waving it around.
It's not just a hilt.
It's not just a hilt.
Well, that is like a great sword for a thief.
I find a lot of great things. I'm glad I'm here with you all.
And we're glad you're here. You've guided us well.
No,
And I'm just
wait until
and
you see what's coming next.
And here's the other thing. You can there is a command word which is written on the hilt of the sword. When the sword is drawn, you can say the command word and you can turn invisible for up to 2 rounds or until you attack.
Oh, dang.
Great design, by the way, to have the word inscribed on the handle.
Yeah, it's much better than having it inscribed on the blade
Right.
that's invisible.
Yep, the blade of the sword is invisible, and you can turn yourself invisible for up to 2 rounds. You can do that once per turn.
But does the blade being invisible give Woodchuck any bonuses when he's fighting?
Not really, but you can use the invisibility. I mean, you could conceivably, draw the blade, say the command word, turn invisible, and then
Get sneak attacks.
yeah, then you can like move in for a sneak attack.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's very handy.
It's called the sword. It is, well, it's a sword of lions, Lyons, which, if this were French, that would be the sword of Lyon. So one other thing about the goo is now that you're out of the water and or now that you're out of it and it's like this goo is like starting to like dry on your skin, and it's getting a little rubbery, and it's making everything feel kind of difficult to move, almost like you're being like constricted. The way this works is for the next 5 turns, the drying goo will impair your fighting capability. Those so covered will attack and defend at -2.
Unless you have a ring.
Unless you have a ring of free action, that it won't affect you if you're wearing the ring of free action.
Well done, folks. So we're on the other side now.
You are all on the other side.
With a sword.
We probably want to chill for a minute and let
Let this
Father
stuff.
Tuck break that stuff down.
Good idea.
Is there a door on this side or something that we can what's the word?
Blockade.
Board, yeah.
Not really. This does seem to, well, this opens up into a corridor. I'm going to do some area reveals, and we are running out of time here. So why don't I just reveal more of the map? Then you can figure out what you want to do next.
I want to say it was really awkward for those gnolls every time they want to go to the bathroom or grab a snack. But that's what happens when you choose to live in OSR dungeon.
Choose to live in a dungeon. Dems to breaks.
We really should be talking about the socioeconomic policies of this world, because I doubt that these gnolls are choosing to live in this dungeon.
Or they thought they were choosing, but are they really though? Are they really
Yeah.
choosing? Wow. Okay. Cool.
So this does seem to end in more. So this is a. So again, you like poke around this. This does seem to end in a, like, not exactly a dead end, but there seems to be a single door in this corridor that leads south. So if you want to hang out here for a bit, you can. After about like half an hour or so, that goo hardens enough that you can start peeling it off yourself. Kind of like if you like you get actual glue on your hands and you let it dry, you can peel it off. And that's kind of like what it's like.
Yeah, I imagine it's very exfoliating. Actually, I think like I
Skin
think-
looks great.
Yeah, I think old Father Tuck. It looks like it took about 10 years off of him. It looks like a new man.
Getting it out of your hair is a little more difficult, but
Right. That's
Well, good thing he's got the
I got the
Like a
bald
new
pate.
man with a lot
Yeah.
of white goo in his hair.
That's right.
looking at the time, folks, I think this might be a good place to end the session. Just because we're not going to have time to do another encounter area. But yeah, that was kind of a weird ass puzzle. And
I
you
love
guys
that
did.
kind of
Who would
stuff.
put this here?
No, to be honest, I love that. I just think that's so cool. Because we were all, I mean, it's that thing we were all freaking out, thinking like, if you touch the goo, you're gonna turn
Yeah.
into a ghoul or something, right? Like whatever it is.
Or
And then-
or it's acid and you'll just immediately dissolve.
yeah. And then like, but the next time that there's a situation like that, then we're like, oh, it's gonna be okay, and then it will be that, right? Like
Yeah,
I just feel
I was
like
gonna say, and then it will be.
sets you up.
Oh, you
Yeah.
touched. You touched the pool of goo. Make a saving throw versus petrification.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That's the thing about these old modules. You never know what the hell kind of weird ass shit's going to be in them. Well, I think we are going to end the session here. I am going to end the recording. If you folks want to stay on, we can do a little debrief afterwards, but that's for us. That's not for our viewers at home. Anyone who has watched this video to the end, thank you for watching, and please join us for our next session.